Hello, everyone, and welcome to General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. General Hospital spoilers for Friday, February 20th, reveal that the show will deliver a special episode as they say one last farewell to Luke Spencer and his portrayer, Anthony Geary. Geary died in December 2025, but he'll live on through the wonderful performances he delivered as Luke on GH. Many of those performances will be revisited in this tribute show, so fans can expect some flashbacks and plenty of meaningful conversations about Luke. For starters, Lulu Spencer will find herself getting emotional over an old picture of her dad, who was killed while she was stuck in a coma. Lulu didn't get that crushing news until she woke up, so she'll hate that she never got a chance to say a proper goodbye. Tracy will bring some comfort when she assures Lulu that they're going to honor Luke, which will lead to them sharing some memories and a drink later. Lulu and Tracy will clink glasses, so Luke will be there in spirit. Laura Collins will also light a candle in remembrance of Luke at the church, where she'll talk to her former flame. Although Luke can't be there with Laura physically anymore, she'll admit she always feels his presence when life gets too heavy. Just when it feels like Laura can't go on, she'll insist she hears Luke's voice calling her Angel and reminding her of who she is. Laura will feel like Luke gives her the strength to carry on, so she'll thank him for that as well as for the love of a lifetime. Next, Sonny will use Carly Spencer as his confidant and recall his first Luke meeting. Luke became more than just a friend to Sonny, who viewed him as a brother instead. Sonny will share that with Carly as they get ready to celebrate Luke's life with some other people who loved Luke dearly. On the pier, Sonny, Carly, Tracy, Lulu, Laura, and Elizabeth Baldwin will gather to share a toast to Luke. There'll also be some floating candle lanterns, so the show will pull out all the stops to remember Luke Spencer and Anthony Geary. General Hospital spoilers say this special episode is sure to be a tearjerker. As Friday, February 20th unfolds, General Hospital prepares to slow its pace, dim the lights, and invite viewers into a deeply emotional farewell. One final, heartfelt goodbye to Luke Spencer and the legendary man who brought him to life, Anthony Geary. Though Anthony Geary passed away in December 2025, his spirit, his legacy, and his unforgettable performances live on. This special episode becomes more than a tribute. It becomes a shared moment of remembrance, weaving together memories, flashbacks, and quiet conversations that echo with love, loss, and gratitude. Fans will be taken on an emotional journey through Luke's life, reminded of why he mattered so deeply, not just to Port Charles, but to everyone who ever watched him. The emotion begins softly, almost unexpectedly, when Lulu Spencer stumbles upon an old photograph of her father. It's a simple image, frozen in time, but it shatters the fragile calm she's been holding on to. Luke was killed while Lulu lay trapped in a coma, unaware that the world had lost him. She didn't hear the news until she woke up, long after the chance to say goodbye had slipped through her fingers. The realization hits her all over again. She never got that final moment, never got to tell him what he meant to her. Her grief is raw, unresolved, and painfully real. Sensing Lulu's heartbreak, Tracy steps in, sharp-tongued as ever, but with a tenderness that only emerges in moments like this. She assures Lulu that Luke will be honored properly, that his life won't fade quietly into memory. That promise becomes a small lifeline. Later, the two women share a drink, trading memories that make them laugh through tears. As their glasses clink together, it feels as though Luke himself is there with them, unseen but undeniably present. Across town, the mood turns reverent and intimate as Laura Collins enters the church. She lights a candle, its flame flickering gently in the silence, and speaks to the man who once defined her heart. Luke may no longer be there in body, but Laura confesses that she still feels him when the weight of life becomes too heavy to carry alone. In her quiet monologue, she admits that just when she feels like she can't go on, she hears his voice, calling her Angel, reminding her of her strength, of who she has always been. In that moment, Luke becomes her anchor once more. Laura thanks him not only for giving her the courage to keep moving forward, but for the love of a lifetime, a love that death could never erase. Elsewhere, Sonny opens up in a rare moment of vulnerability, choosing Carly Spencer as his confidant. He looks back on the first time he met Luke, recalling how what began as an unlikely connection grew into something far deeper. Luke wasn't just a friend, he was a brother. Sonny shares that truth with Carly as they prepare to honor Luke alongside others who loved him just as fiercely. It's a reminder that Luke's impact wasn't confined to romance or family. He forged bonds that reshaped lives. As night falls, the story converges on the pier. Sonny, Carly, Tracy, Lulu, Laura, and Elizabeth Baldwin gather together, united by shared loss and shared love. They raise a toast to Luke, to his life, his flaws, his courage, and his unforgettable spirit. Floating candle lanterns are released into the darkness, drifting softly over the water like glowing memories set free. The sight is breathtaking, symbolic, and achingly beautiful, a final send-off worthy of the man they're remembering. This special episode pulls out all the stops, honoring both Luke Spencer and Anthony Geary with the respect, emotion, and reverence they deserve. It's a celebration, a goodbye, and a love letter all at once. And as the final moments fade, one thing is clear. This farewell is guaranteed to leave hearts heavy, eyes wet, and memories burning brighter than ever. This is General Hospital at its most powerful, a tearjerker in every sense of the word. And even after the lanterns drift out of sight, the episode doesn't rush to an ending. It lingers, just like grief does. The camera seems to breathe with the characters, allowing the silence to speak as loudly as any words ever could. Each face on the pier carries a different memory of Luke, a different version of the man who once walked among them. For Lulu, it's the ache of unfinished conversations and love that never got its final goodbye. For Tracy, it's the complicated bond built on sarcasm, loyalty, and grudging respect, a relationship that survived storms because neither of them ever truly walked away. For Laura, it's everything. The adventure, the chaos, the soulmate connection that shaped her very identity. Losing Luke didn't just mean losing a partner. It meant losing a piece of herself. As the water reflects the soft glow of the candles, it feels as though time itself has slowed, allowing the past to gently brush against the present. Flashbacks weave through the quiet moments. Luke's grin, his defiance, his tenderness, reminding everyone why his presence was so powerful and why his absence feels so vast. These aren't just memories being replayed. They're emotional echoes, resurfacing to remind the living that love never truly disappears. Sonny stands silently for a moment longer than the others, his jaw tight, his eyes distant. For a man who rarely allows himself to grieve openly, this loss cuts deep. Luke was one of the few people who could challenge him, understand him, and still stand by his side. That kind of bond doesn't fade. It settles into the soul. Carly, ever watchful, stays close, not speaking, not interrupting, simply there. Because sometimes the greatest comfort isn't words, but presence. And tonight, presence is everything. As the group slowly disperses, the pier doesn't feel empty. Instead, it feels full of stories, laughter, fights, forgiveness, and love that span decades. Luke Spencer may be gone, but the mark he left behind is unmistakable, etched into every heart that beat a little faster because of him. The episode closes not with despair, but with quiet strength. With the understanding that Luke's legacy isn't confined to flashbacks or memories. It lives on in the people he changed, the love he gave, and the courage he inspired. In every moment they choose to keep going, to keep loving, to keep believing. And as the screen fades to black, it's impossible not to feel it. That familiar presence, that rogue spirit lingering just beyond the frame. A reminder that some legends never truly leave. They simply become part of us. But even as the credits begin to roll, the feeling doesn't end. It follows the audience, heavy, tender, and strangely comforting, like the echo of a familiar voice you swear you just heard. In one last, almost imperceptible beat, the episode reminds viewers that Luke Spencer was never meant to disappear quietly. His life was too loud, too messy, too passionate for that. He was adventure and rebellion wrapped in charm, a man who made mistakes and loved fiercely anyway. And in honoring him, General Hospital isn't just saying goodbye to a character. It's honoring an era, a legacy, and a connection shared by generations of viewers. For those who grew up watching Luke and Laura fall in love against all odds, This farewell lands like the closing of a chapter that shaped television history. For newer fans, it becomes a powerful lesson in storytelling. Proof that characters can live far beyond the screen when they're written with heart and portrayed with soul. Somewhere in Port Charles, life will go on. People will argue, fall in love, make mistakes, and fight for redemption, just as Luke once did. And in those moments, his influence will still be there. In the courage to stand up when it matters. In the humor that cuts through darkness. In the refusal to give up, no matter how impossible the odds seem. This special episode doesn't ask viewers to forget their tears. It invites them to feel them, fully, honestly, and then to carry the memory forward. Because that's how legends survive. Not by clinging to the past, but by letting it shape the future. And so, the farewell becomes something quietly beautiful. Not an ending, but a promise. That Luke Spencer will always be part of the heartbeat of Port Charles. Always part of the story still waiting to be told. And always remembered, not just for how he left, but for how deeply he lived. And in the quiet that follows, the story offers one last, tender exhale. A cinematic epilogue that feels less like television and more like memory. Port Charles wakes up to a new day. The docks are calm. The streets hum softly with life continuing, just as it always does. Yet everything feels subtly changed, as if the town itself is aware that it has lost one of its wildest, bravest hearts. Somewhere between yesterday and today, Luke Spencer has become part of the air, unseen, but everywhere. In fleeting moments, his presence lingers. A laugh that sounds just a little too familiar. A risky choice made with stubborn courage. A reminder that rules were never meant to cage the soul. Luke was never about playing it safe, and that truth still ripples through the people he left behind. Laura moves forward, steadier now. Not because the pain is gone, but because she carries his love with her. Lulu holds on to hope, not just for closure, but for the future her father would have wanted her to fight for. Tracy masks her grief with wit, but her loyalty runs deeper than words ever could. Sonny returns to his world knowing that some brothers are never replaced. Carly keeps watch, knowing that love, even when it's lost, still protects. And above it all, the legacy remains. Luke Spencer wasn't perfect. He was reckless, flawed, complicated, and unforgettable. He loved hard, fought fiercely, and lived unapologetically. And that's why his story doesn't end here. It can't. As the final image fades, the message is clear without ever being spoken aloud. Legends don't vanish. They evolve. They settle into the stories we tell, the courage we borrow, and the love we refuse to let die. This wasn't just a goodbye. It was a thank you, a celebration, a promise kept. And as long as General Hospital continues to tell stories of love, loss, redemption, and adventure, Luke Spencer will always be there. Just off screen, just ahead, still leading the way. And with that final breath, the tribute settles gently into the hearts of everyone watching. There's no dramatic twist waiting in the shadows. No last-minute revelation. Just understanding. The kind that comes when a story has been told fully and with love. The kind that reminds us why we watch, why we remember, and why some characters never truly leave us. Luke Spencer's journey was never about a perfect ending. It was about the ride, the danger, the laughter, the passion, the choices that changed lives forever. And in honoring him this way, the story makes peace with that truth. His legacy doesn't need another chapter to be complete. It already lives on in every risk taken for love, every stand against injustice, every moment of bravery wrapped in imperfection. The screen fades, but the emotion stays. Viewers are left with damp eyes and full hearts, holding on to the sense that they didn't just watch an episode, they shared a moment. A collective goodbye, a thank you whispered across generations. A reminder that storytelling, at its best, mirrors life itself. Beautiful, painful, fleeting, and unforgettable. And somewhere in that quiet after the music fades, it feels like Luke would have wanted it this way. No grand speeches, no drawn-out goodbyes. Just love, memory, and the courage to keep going. Because legends don't ask to be mourned forever. They ask to be remembered, with a smile, with a tear, and with the promise that their spirit will never stop moving forward. And so it ends, not with silence, but with meaning.